You're listening to Blackout Radio, and I'm here with my co-host JAE5. We're celebrating the Diaspora today. JAE5, I got to ask you, when people say, "Where are you from?"
Yeah.
Do you go Ghana or do you go Britain? Do you see yourself as British?
I'm Ghanaian.
No question. You wouldn't say British Ghanaian. You just straight
I just
Ghanaian.
say Ghanaian. It's just, I don't know. It just feels natural.
Because when people say to me, "Where are you from?" it's not even a question. I say Saint Lucia.
Yeah.
And it's my parents weren't even born there.
Yeah.
My grandparents were from there, came over here. Both my parents were born in London. I was born in London.
Yeah.
But I still feel as though
Yeah.
my identity is West Indian, St. Lucian.
I agree.
When was the first time you went back to Ghana?
Oh, mate. I can't remember the exact years, but I went when I was, I think, 9 to 12. So I went when I was 9, came back to London when I was 12.
So was that your first time going there? You stayed for 3 years?
No, I'd been once before when I was probably like 6, 7, went for a holiday. I did like 2 weeks out there.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then came back and then I did the real sentence.
The sentence?
Yeah.
So did you get sent back home?
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
Because
I've heard this story from different people so many times.
Yeah.
Especially like my West African friends.
Yeah.
Like, I got sent back home.
Yeah.
Like almost as if it was against their will.
It kind of is, because I didn't used to get in that much trouble when I was in school. It was actually my older brother who used to get in a lot of trouble. We just all held the sentence with him. So my older brother would get in trouble and they were just like, you know what, you guys need to go and learn some respect. And they actually told us we're only going for 6 weeks.
Wow.
And it turned into 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that like when you first got there? Did you feel foreign? Or did you feel like you were at home?
No, back home, everyone's really welcoming. It felt foreign, like I didn't feel like I was at home, but people make you feel extremely comfortable. So the first 6 weeks was like a holiday. And then when we started school there, they really snaked us.
What was the school experience like in Ghana?
Ooh, yeah, school was different because there was a lot of things that I got away with in London that I didn't even think were bad, like telling a teacher to shut up and...
Wait.
Yeah.
You thought...
I thought it was calm.
You thought that was calm?
Because everyone was doing it. I just thought I was being cheeky, ha, ha, ha. And then the teacher would be like, don't say that. And that's the end of it. I got punched up in school in Ghana for that.
Wait, did you try to say shut up in Ghana?
I tried it on my first day.
Oh, my days.
Yeah, they dealt with me correctly.
So, I mean, that was baptism by fire then. Because that was that was an early experience.
First day of school.
Did you find that you became more Ghanaian as you spent time there? Or were you always like a British boy in Ghana?
My parents would always speak Tree. They would, like, I understood the language before I got there. I kind of knew my culture like properly before I even got there. So when I got there, it was natural, and people were surprised. So I'd keep quiet and watch people speak, and they'd be talking about us and not know that we understand the language.
I first went back to St. Lucia when I was about 8. That was my first time visiting the island, and they called me London. Like I felt the difference. So being in England, I would always be like, hey, I'm St. Lucian. As soon as I got to St. Lucia, I realised like it was a completely different world. And people looked at me different. They looked at me like, you're a foreigner.
Yeah.
But I felt like I didn't even, that first time I went, I remember feeling like I was really overdressed.
Yeah. Yeah. You always will be.
Yeah, like I remember when I went to my family are from like a fishing village called Canaries in St. Lucia. And I remember rolling up there in like night trainers and it matches the night t-shirt and being like, I'm never doing this again. You can't go and do drip in certain parts of homeland.
If you're going to the village, you're going where we really come from now. But now, like, it's changed now, innit? Like, I think like back home they're more drippy than we are over here. Like, they're really stylish, like. But before, when I was young and I went, overdressed. I got Air Forces on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it was not that. They had the little slippers. Like, everyone was in slippers.
Everyone was in jellies and flip-flops. Do you feel like being in Ghana in those formative years, so you were like, what, 9, 10?
Yeah.
Till you were 12.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that changed you entirely?
Drastically. Like, everything, morals. Like, it taught me a lot of morals. Just got to have respect for people. People over there are a lot more respectful, a lot more humble. Also, even just in my career in music, a lot of my influences come from things that I learned when I was young and I didn't realize I was even learning them or absorbing them. Just being around, they played a lot of different music out there. So picking up all of those things. So I generally don't think I could be where I am if I didn't go back home, because it plays a big part in what I do.
So would you send your future kids back?
Yeah, I don't think I can make them do 3 years, but they're definitely going to do a 6 months or in a year or two, depending on their character. If my child's a wrong'un, they're doing the sentence.
Because 3 years, I still can't get my head around that. I remember when I got sent to St. Lucia for a whole summer holidays, and I think my parents just wanted to just free up their time.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you're going to St. Lucia for some holidays. And I remember after about 3-4 weeks, as much as I love going back home, but I remember it started to take its toll because it's such a different, like a different pace. It's a completely different way of life. And my family lived up one mountain that was just far from everything else. What was your experience of being with your family in Ghana? Because I think that's a unique experience. Because people think of going to these places, like people go to the Caribbean and it's a holiday. My experience of being with my family was completely different. What was it like for you?
I think it was amazing. It was amazing. So my mum's brothers looked after us, and they were like the cool uncles. You know what I mean? They would take us out. They would make sure we were drippy. They would buy us a bicycle. So it was a whole different experience from what we had in London. Dad goes work, mummy's at home looking after certain things, and then after school I'm going to run out and play with my boy on the road. It was very different. Like Ghana was like, we experienced life a lot more. It wasn't PlayStation. It wasn't like, and having family, like it made us a lot closer. Me and my brothers are extremely close.
What are the things that are innately Ghanaian that still exist in your British life? Like, be it hall parties, be it certain types of events. What are the things that exist in your British life that keep you grounded in your Ghanaian roots?
Honestly, I just think I'm surrounded by a lot of Ghanaians. Ghanaians are all related to somebody that's related to somebody that knows somebody. So, like, if you was Ghanaian, there's a good chance I'm going to say you're my cousin next week. Like, it's just, you be at a whole party or something and an auntie will be like, that's my child.
Tell me about hall parties as well.
Hall parties. When we were younger, those were the best things. A whole party is a rave for the AFs. I don't know how to explain it. They're not playing no grime, they're not playing no thing. There's serious food, serious super malt, jollof rice. And the parents want to do their gossip, so they send all the kids into a little room and we're just running around, it's the most sweets and stuff you can have, because when you get home, you can't have all of that. So you make the most of a hall party when we was younger.
What are the big tunes that go off now at the hall parties?
Like from my culture, it'd be like songs like You May Kiss the Bride. We have VIP. They had VIP were a group. They had a lot of hits. I can't remember none of the titles, but the whole party, they had a 20-minute section. It was theirs, like just their rhythms.
So is it dominated by classics?
Classics. It's always classics. Even today, if we went to a hall party, it'd be music from 15 years ago.
So you're not good, like the new school don't get a bring into a hall party?
Honestly, no.
Really?
No. Hall parties is not for the new school. Don't get no love in a hall party.
Do you feel conscious because you're like, obviously there's a Britishness
accent,
that still exists despite you being completely Ghanaian.
Yeah.
When you're in the company of Ghanaians, do you feel less Ghanaian or do you feel as Ghanaian as them? Especially when speaking.
I'm Af at heart, so I get in, and also I lived there for 3 years, so I don't do it on purpose. But when I'm with Ghanaians, my accent changes.
Is it?
Yeah, it just naturally changes, and I'm more. I might not be as after them, but I don't speak like this when I'm amongst my people. And then when I'm around everyone else, my accent switches back to British. Have you been around Burna Boy? Yeah, you notice it.
Let's talk about your experience of seeing yourself in the mainstream when you were younger. Because for me, coming from St. Lucia, a small island, we never really saw ourselves individually, specifically St. Lucia. I remember one time we were watching Blind Date and the prize was to go to St. Lucia, and we went, in my house, we went mad because just to hear the word St. Lucia on TV was huge for us. So we would latch onto kind of the representation of Jamaica. Okay, and I remember there was a program called The Desmonds, and I think they were even Guyanese, but we would kind of latch on to the representation of other parts of the Caribbean. Yeah. How much of Ghana did you see in the mainstream when you were younger?
Not a lot, but in terms of like African countries, Ghana and Nigeria have been at the forefront to a certain degree. So if you did see anything to do with Africans that weren't poverty, it would be Ghana or Nigeria, if you know what I mean. So it was like it's gonna sound bad, but we was better off than a lot of the other countries that had no representation.
I remember being younger and watching the Olympics, and there was no St. Lucian runner, so we had to scream and shout for Jamaica.
Yeah.
And now, I guess, especially for people from the continent of Africa, it is shifted entirely though.
Yeah.
It is like Africa to the world is a different thing now.
Yeah.
And you must have felt that in recent years.
It's amazing to see. Like, Africa is like a powerhouse. Like, they're really going for it. I can't explain it. You just know, like, even just something as small as how many people go Africa in December. It's like Dubai now. It's like, oh, I'm in Ghana. It's like, oh, you went Ghana? Sick. I wish I could go. Whereas before it was just like, you in Ghana? Like, you know what I mean? It's changed drastically. And other places like South Africa, I went to South Africa. It's beautiful out there. Like, all of these countries, I think some of these like places, they live a lot better than we live over here. And it's like, when we were younger, there's a misconception of it was all poverty and stuff. If you see the houses people live in these countries, it's nuts.
And you must have noticed as well the divide that seemed to exist between Africans and West Indians. Because I felt like there were diaspora wars when we were younger. Yeah. It feels like that has just shifted entirely as well.
When we were younger, it was cool to be Caribbean, and it was like, oh, your Af was an insult. So, like, I remember, like, people, like, you wouldn't come out and say I'm Ghanaian or I'm African unless someone dragged that out of you. You would just tag along with the Jamaicans and wear your string vest like you was one of them. Do you know what I mean?
Oh wait, were you one of those Ghanaians that would say you're Jamaican?
No,
there was a lot of those, you know.
I never ever said I was Jamaican, but I would roll with all the Jamaicans. I would have the string vest. I would rock the Clarks. I just made you think you don't have to ask me. Do you know what I mean? But if you asked, I would have said I'm Ghanaian, like, because you didn't want to be that guy that's just, oh, you know what I mean?
But that's when did that shift for you personally?
Honestly, quite late. When we was in like uni, the uni raves. Like, I think when I was like 21, I didn't even go uni, but all my friends, like Afrobeats and all these guys, they were the DJs, yeah? And they're all African, innit? So they just spin African songs. Yeah. And whether you like it or not, I'm DJing, I'm playing what I like. And I think they made Afrobeats really, really blow up in this country, all the uni DJs, because you couldn't go to a uni rave without hearing Afrobeats. Before that, when I was in secondary school, Vybz Kartel ran the dance. Yeah. Yeah, it was Vybz Kartel and Movado. It was them two. No one else had a say. Do you know what I mean? And then uni, all the African guys changes, like, we're playing Af music. That's all we're playing. And I think they really made it something.
Because I've even noticed, especially as someone from Caribbean heritage, I've noticed even how my fellow West Indians will even adopt ways of speaking that are just inherently West African. You'll just see people on the timeline talking about I can't come and die. And just certain things that have been born of the diaspora. What do you think it is about African culture that has suddenly just set the world alight?
I think because a lot of Caribbean cultures and stuff like that is very close to African culture. I feel like we're the same people, just different accents to a certain degree. You have like Caribbeans that might be like Nigerians, or you have a different, so I say Caribbeans, but like a certain country from in the Caribbean might be like Nigerians, certain country might be like Ghanaians. I heard there's a place in Jamaica, they speak Tree. They speak my language. There's actually a place.
Well, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I heard that, like, we're pretty much the same people. So I think it's just like, people are realizing, we do that, we eat that. Rice and peas is the same as wache, just cooked a bit different with different seasoning. It's just like, you relate to it. I think it's more relatable now, and everyone has more understanding.
But Caribbean food slaps more than Ghanaian food, though.
I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
No, but if you put like all the Caribbean dishes up against all of the Ghanaian dishes.
The Ghanaian...
I don't know, you know.
You coming down in December?
Well, I've heard it's the place to be, you know.
Come in December. My manager was like, wache tastes like burnt cigarette. It was this, it was that. He was going in, and then we took him to the hood, just a little spot. He was like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten in my life.
What are the ingredients?
It's exactly the same as rice and peas. It's just cooked slightly different.
And what's the accompanying protein?
You could have chicken with it, you could have fish with it, you could have anything with it. If I put them both there, you wouldn't see the difference.
But does it? It
just tastes different.
It slaps like oxtail and rice and peas. I don't know,
more.
You know.
Slaps more.
Oh,
it's more. Trust me.
Okay.
And I love Caribbean food. Like, literally, I love Caribbean
Look, you want to
food.
reignite the diaspora wars right here?
We'll start it. We get some chefs in. Let's do it.
Listen. One hill I will die on is the Caribbean food hill, you know.
Caribbean food's amazing. It's not touching Ghanaian food.
Is there any competition between Nigeria and Ghana?
Yes, there's always competition. It's friendly competition though. It's not aggressive. It's like Nigerian artists are always a lot bigger than Ghanaian artists. But not like when we're going to holidays and stuff, everybody wants to go Ghana more than they probably want to go Nigeria. So we take pride in that. Nigerians would say the biggest African artists come from here. It's always like that friendly banter competition, but it's all love, man. I feel like half the Nigerian artists have houses in Ghana. I see Nigerian artists in Ghana more than I see them in Nigeria.
Why is that?
Ghana's really calm, it's really chill, it's peaceful. Nigeria's hectic. It's needed though, because like when I go Ghana and I'm there for too long, I get sluggish. I get so chill. Like Ghana, you order food and I guarantee you they go and buy the chicken when you order it. And the food comes 3 hours late. Nigeria, everything's sharp. Oh yeah, fast, 15 minutes. It's like, it's quick. You need this balance. Nigeria and Ghana's like balance. Like I love both of them. I do like 2 weeks in one and 2 weeks in the other.
Yin and yang, side by side.
Yeah.
How was the experience for you shifted? Because as we said at the top of the show, you've been doing this for like a decade.
Yeah.
Have you felt the shift in the popularity and how has it impacted you as an African producer? Have you felt that you're more in demand the more that the sound of Africa resonates on a larger scale?
The way music's going has definitely made people like myself in demand. It's also made the producers from the pop world and other worlds adopt to ours a bit. Like I get sessions, people call me in for sessions, guys that have done huge pop songs, and they'll be like, yeah, just help me with the drums. Or
how do you feel about that though? Do you feel protective of the African sound?
Not really. Not really. Everything's influenced from somewhere. I'm proud. I'll be like, yeah, that's our sign as long as you acknowledge where you got it from. But if the producer that produces Adele decides that he wants to do an Afrobeat song, who am I to try it, man? Go for it. Do
you ever worry about it being watered down?
Everything always gets watered down eventually. It just happens, innit?
And you in no way feel like you need to gatekeep that?
Can't gatekeep it. Gatekeeping is almost like hating and blocking. It's like, oh, you can't do that. You just do, you do better, innit? Like, make people appreciate yours better than trying to block a man's thing, saying, why are you jumping on our thing? If you can't, that's a bit weird for me.
Let's talk about the experience of being Ghanaian growing up in London. Are there aspects of British culture that you have adopted that you do enjoy? I
can't lie, man. I'm like, as much as I go, I'm Ghanaian or whatever, like my accent and everything, I'm British, innit? Like I live in London, innit? I don't live in Ghana. I pick and choose what I think is beneficial in my Ghanaian culture and then what's beneficial in the British culture. Piece them together and that's me, if you know what I mean. So
that's the same. Like I'll have a roast, but I'll fry plantain.
Yeah, like little things like that. Do you know what I mean? You adopt bits here.
Or I season my baked beans like properly.
I do that as well. Yeah, I never even. I thought that was normal.
No, but that's you. That's Diaspora, man.
Okay, I thought
like you took the British baked bean.
Yeah, you put a bit of seasoning
and then you put some spice in it.
Yeah, some little bit of spice, but you can make it. You know.
Do you have aspirations of going back home permanently? Like that seemed for me to have died with like the generation just before. Like when my grandma came back over here, it was always her intention to go back to St. Lucia. And she did. She bought her land, she bought her house. Likewise with my parents, they bought their land and the intention was always to go back to St. Lucia. And I find with people my age, people have stopped talking about going back and living there. And that's why I love when people do, they buy land and even people that are our generation, they buy land and their intention is to go back there. Because that's a big cultural shift. Have you got any intentions to go back home permanently?
I don't know fully yet. I do want to go back home a lot more. I've always said like I'll spend 6 months of my life in Ghana, 6 months over here or something. So when it's cold over here, I'll be in Ghana. And when it's hot, I'd come back here. That's how I would want to live. I feel like it's a gradual thing. First I was like, I can only spend 2 weeks in Ghana because you do miss London, you do miss it. And then the more I go, at first I went for like 5 days, then I went for 2 weeks, and then I went for a month, and a month was calm. So I think if you gradually do it, maybe I can. I think it's hard for somebody who's lived here all their life to just go, I'm going to Ghana and just changing everything. I think that's a bit nuts. Like,
shouts to Fuso DG boy.
Yeah, he just did but I'm very sure even him, he probably gone back back and forth a few times.
But then one time we just didn't come back.
Didn't come back. And Ghana will suck you in, you know. Like, especially if you're doing all right in life. Like, if you are making a decent amount of money in London, when you go Ghana, you are Oga, king, champion. Like, Ghanaians know how to gas her, man. You be like, why am I going back to London? And they're insulting me, and they're just, and when I'm in Ghana, like, they treat you like you're, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people that come into a bit of money or doing well, like, F London, I'm going where they respect.
I don't know what, I do feel like that when I go to the Caribbean as well, you know, my money just feels long. And it just, like, you gotta just make it stretch.
Long. Go Ghana, you roll like a president. I'm talking police escorts, they move with cars out the way, people chasing the car, hey, Dotty. Like, it's so sick. It's vanity, but it's like, rah, they really actually like me.
So we've seen like the growth of African music, and it's just, it's not slowing down anytime soon. Where do you see that sound in the next 5 years? And African culture, which in general is just being consumed on a huge scale.
In the next 5 to 10 years, I honestly think it's going to be the biggest genre. I think it might be bigger than hip hop. I feel like the population of Africa is probably, it's drastic, it's huge. I think there's a lot more people in Africa than there are in the other parts of the world. I think it's going to be the leading place for music.